added for this event. This is going to be really exciting for everybody who joins because I'm going to answer a lot of questions. I'm going to talk about what's going on in my life and the course launch, which has been a big deal for me the last week. So this is being recorded, but it usually takes a second to start the recording. So I'm just going to kind of wait a couple minutes for people to get rolling in. But as we go through this material, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I will see if I can answer them if it makes sense within the context of what we're talking about. But I have a pretty cool outline of what we're going to go through. So I'm going to talk about a lot of different things here, but like a big focus of this is that I have the AI Mastery course and it closes in an hour. So this is the last hour you can join for early access. And we're going to talk about why I built this course, what it's about, why you should care as a software engineer, should you care? And then I'm going to talk about how it fits into a bigger picture. So at this point, I think anybody who's going to be joining is probably joining. So what I'll do is I'm just going to share the link to the website. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm on a mobile device here. So if you're on YouTube watching this, it's in the description. If you're on Instagram, I'm going to be posting it here in the chat. So it's codebreakthrough.com/AI-mastery. Awesome. So for the next hour, you can still get early access. So I'll share the material with you as I build it over probably the next 2 or 3 months, give or take, just depending on how much I end up adding to the course. When you get the early access, you'll get 33% off, so 2/3 of the cost. You'll get the material as it's produced, so I'll upload the sections each week. And anybody who buys any of my material, any of my courses early access, I treat them like royalty, so future discounts on future products. So we're going to talk about today, what is the course? So this is an AI for software engineers course. The goal of this is to get you up to speed on AI topics. If you've been a developer for a period of time, maybe you've been in the dark about AI, or maybe you've experimented with it a little bit, this course is going to get you to a very proficient level in AI, so an intermediate developer, it may perhaps even advance in some topics. But the real goal of this is to explore a lot of different avenues of AI. So it's not so much, hey, we're going to just use ChatGPT and, ask questions to ChatGPT. I see a lot of these tutorials and they're really not that helpful. We are going to talk about prompt engineering and how you can write proper prompts to get good responses. But the course is so much more than that. So it's really split up into 3 major ideas. AI tools, how to gain an advantage using tools that are available to you right now. So this can help you learn and help you be a better developer. This is the section that will talk a lot about having AI do things for you. So if you followed the discussion on vibe coding and things of these nature, that's all going to be in that section, right? But that's not where we stop. We then will talk about prompt engineering and how to go a little bit deeper with AI tools and LLMs to interact with them across different apps, and how to write prompts to them in such a way to get the most out of them. That will lead into probably what I believe is going to be the best section, which is focused on utilizing AI in features on your applications or websites. So not just how to use AI tools, but how do you take those tools and put them in your web pages? So how could I have an AI feature, maybe generating some content for some users on your app, maybe summarizing some information? These are the kinds of things that will make you a better software engineer that a lot of the AI courses aren't talking about. So those are the main topics. So how is this course different than other AI courses? Well, for one, it's taught by me, so come on, like obviously it's gonna be like way better. But functionally, or basically fundamentally, the major differences are that we're going to focus on core skills, first off, We'll have applied examples, but it's not going to be like, yo, here's this tool, here's random information on how to use this tool that's going to be obsolete in a year. I want you to learn AI principles that can be utilized over the next year. Or not year, years over the I just said year, so I'm stumbling over my words, but utilize these AI principles that can be used for this year and every year beyond this year. So that's the way I teach with everything. I want you to take away core principles that'll make you a better AI user and a better software engineer. We'll look at a lot of different concerns about AI, perhaps looking at some of the risks of AI with using your data, risks of AI with things like environmental impact. We'll at least talk about what people have to say about that. And also the risks of AI. For example, is AI going to take over the world? Is AI communicating behind our backs? Or perhaps is AI deceiving us? Those kinds of maybe more end of the world themes. Those are some of the things I want to talk about, but not just blindly. I wanted to look into why certain concerns might be actual concerns and which ones are not valid concerns. So those are some of the things I want to talk about. Throughout this course, there's going to be at least three major projects. Now, this is an early access course, so to be clear, these projects have not been built, but these are the courses that these are the topics that I'm going to be focusing on for the course. So we have three major courses, or three major projects. So the first major project is I want to build an assistant that is offline that can utilize your code and your documentation to assist you for whatever you need. So the benefit here is that with the technology to build this, you could potentially use that for company apps or things that do not have the ability to be shared on the internet. So how would we do this all locally without an internet connection and without dependencies on big tech companies that could shut down your AI models at any moment or change things or double the price or whatever it might be? And with that, you'll be able to run it as much as you want because it'll be offline. So you don't have to worry about tokens or any credits or any of that stuff because that just gets old. So that's one of the big projects. I think that's going to be awesome. The next project is going to be integrating an AI feature into an application. So that's a little bit more vague, but the idea I have right now is basically I built a note-taking app, and I want to integrate AI into that, so where it'll summarize your notes, either an individual note or being able to summarize information across all of your notes, and that's going to be a feature built into the application. So it's less about using AI tools and more about building an AI feature for users. So that's the second major app. The third major thing that I am looking to build is a complete company, a complete startup. So basically, we're going to intentionally go all in with the AI and have it do as much of everything that it can possibly do for us. So how do we build an entire company? How do we build the logos? How do we build the marketing material? How do we actually build the app, the actual product? How do we define our pricing and put up a pricing page? How do we build a homepage, a landing page for people to actually see this product? The goal of this is basically to force ourselves to step out of the developer mindset and think as like an AI engineer first. How do we use AI to do as much as humanly possible? The goal of this is I want you to take away some skills that you could apply today to build your own products, companies, or whatever it might be, to even potentially generate income. So I can say firsthand because I spoke with a coach who was doing a program for like meditation and breathing, and he did basically this to build an app and release it for people to sign up for and pay money for. And because of that, he was earning more from the app, and he was able to do that instead of his original program. So there's true capabilities to make a lot of money if you use AI correctly. Now, obviously, there's a huge difference between having AI do everything and having AI support you as a developer. And I don't want you to go through this course to learn how to use AI, but not have any idea what it's doing or how to code yourself. We are approaching this from the lens of a software engineer. And what that means is we need to understand the output that the AI creates. We need to understand how things work together. And we need to be able to have a strong vision for the outcome of the AI so we can prompt it properly to get good results. So those are the things I'm going to show you and teach you so that it's not just like pure randomness, trusting the AI to do stuff. Because I've seen enough content where people talk about AI and they show something like an AI generating some marketing material or something, and they talk about it like it's some revolutionary thing, like, wow, this is amazing. I can plan out my material for the next week. But if you've seen any of these videos, you'll know that a lot of them are pretty bad, right? Like the responses from the AIs are usually pretty generic and vague and not actually something you can implement immediately. So you need to know how to go a little bit farther and take the information from the AI to actually turn that into a concrete, real thing. So this is going to get into agents and having the AI go beyond just giving you some general business plan that's basically useless. This is going to teach you how to build something completely end-to-end with AI and bring all the different tools together to accomplish a common goal. And then, hey, maybe you go through this course and you can build your own product, you can release it for money, or you could sell it. And then when you're a multi-billionaire, you can, hit me up and say, yo, you help me become a billionaire. Let's see what questions we have. Used to watch your video, or used to watch you in school for C# and Java. Let's go. Is it good or bad to use AI while learning how to code? So this is actually a really good question. Should you use AI when learning how to code? All right, so yes and no. Yes, because AI can accelerate your learning. If you're not using AI to challenge you or to poke holes in your code or to interview you, then you're potentially limiting yourself. But I would be very cautious about using AI blindly where you just purely trust the output, more like vibe coding. Even if it's Copilot and they're just giving like suggestions, this is going to definitely stunt your growth. So if you use AI properly as a software engineer, you're going to get better results, you're going to learn faster, and you're going to get farther than someone who does not use AI. That's what I believe. So in some of my videos, I mentioned, be cautious. Don't even use these AI tools when you're learning the language principles, because you should be focusing on, hey, how do I write this for loop? How do I iterate through this data? How do I, write this list comprehension, or like whatever it is? If you can just hit tab and it writes it for you, you're not learning anything. But if you can take the code you've written and you can give it to an LLM and you can say, hey, is there anything wrong with this code? Can you give me the step-by-step on how to go from this to some implementation I need? And the AI is actually able to explain that information to you step by step. That's how you would use AI good. So if, for example, you're going through LeetCode, you can take a problem, give it to an AI, and you can say, hey, this is the problem. It's out of my level of skill, but I don't want the answer. I want the next step on solving this problem. Then it's almost like it gives hints, and it's like a path on a map, so you know where to go, and you're not wasting time just searching around anywhere. Like, I don't know if anybody here's played video games, but like if you get lost, you don't know where to go, and you're just wasting time. And then sometimes there'll be like a little guide that says, hey, you need to go this way. It doesn't really kill the game experience. It actually is integrated into the game to keep people focused on the end goal and keep them engaged. This is for a game that's very linear, where you have to go to a certain point. So game developers put that in there on purpose, because having that path keeps people on the path. So if your end goal is very clear and you can tell an AI, hey, this is where I'm trying to go with my end goal, then you're going to have better success. And you can have the AI give you the step-by-step. That's how I would use AI to learn. Additionally, you can ask it on what things to prioritize, study plans. You could ask basically, here's my code. Can you tell me how I can improve it and what I should study? That's going to help you be better. So I got an email, and this is like a totally valid thought. So I'm not, trashing this person or calling them out, but the email is basically like, hey, I really need to go through the fundamental material and I need to learn code and all this stuff before I even consider the AI stuff. So while I'm excited for your course, maybe I'll come back to it at some later point. And then I think they used some analogy. I forget what the analogy was, but basically like they needed to learn the fundamentals before they could use AI, because AI comes after. And I don't really think it was the best way of thinking about it, because basically with AI, you have the ability to go wherever you're trying to go much faster, and you have the ability to go much farther if you use AI appropriately. Meaning, I think I could learn faster with the use of AI, instead of what people tend to think is, if I use AI, I'm going to learn slower or I'm not going to learn. So I'm just not going to use it at all. So you just have to be like responsible, I guess, with how you utilize AI. But I definitely don't think it's something where you need to have a certain number of years of experience or something before you pick up AI. And those are all things like I'm going to talk about in great detail on in the course. It's pretty much like going to be my focus for the next couple of months, as well as for transparency, like I have a person helping me with the content planning, so we work together. So he's been doing a lot of the AI prep stuff. I've been doing a lot of the fundamentals material, and then I record all the material. So it's going to be pretty much 2 full-time people working together through this material to make like the best AI course humanly possible. It keeps getting bigger, which is a problem, because when we started this idea, we were like, hey, let's just introduce a micro course. Let's introduce something that people could just join, watch through in an hour or two, really low ticket kind of thing. And I really love this idea until I started planning it. And I was like, there's a lot of good stuff here. And then, I kind of realized even I was underestimating the content here. So it became larger and larger, and then I wanted to include more topics. And then ultimately we had a conversation where I was like, hey, I'm not going to treat this AI topic as a second-class citizen, like a micro course, just learn this on the side thing. This is going to be a first-class citizen, just like any of my other content. If anything, it's going to be a bigger focus, because from the stats we were discovering, the amount of money that companies and people buying these tools and stuff, but companies investing in AI and developers who know how to build AI is insane. So that can be at multiple levels. Vibe coders, which that just deserves a whole video on its own, because I don't really want to get into all of that, but vibe coding to people who just know how to utilize AI tools, to people who know how to build AI features, to people who know how to build the LLMs and like the more machine learning layer. We're not going to get into that layer so much. We're mainly focusing on building AI features in our app and utilizing AI tools. So that's where we're really going to focus in on. Hopefully that answered your question. Thank you for the C++ videos. You bet. How can I learn Python and C++ I can't understand it even after watching some of your YouTube videos. I need help. I think like the best way to learn is through hands-on. Like you have to type it out. So you should be practicing all the stuff in the videos. So watching the videos doesn't do anything. Sorry, I'm slowing down. I need to get a breath or a drink because I've been recording a ton of videos lately. It's actually like my throat hurts from talking. So, all right, let's go through some more of my material. Why should you care about AI as a software engineer? I think that's what we were just on. So, obviously, like going where the money is a huge strategy. The amount of money companies are investing in AI is insane, especially if you've been following along with any of these offers some engineers are getting to build some of these AI tools. Astronomical. But even a layer up from that, building apps that integrate AI features, insane. So when people say, "Hey, the market's bad, I can't get a job," or "I'm worried about layoffs," and then I tell them, "Hey, well, here's the modern skills you need to know," and then they say, "Oh, well, I don't want to learn AI," and I'm like, you just asked me for the modern skills that you need to know so you're competitive in today's marketplace. But they don't want to know the truth, right? And I didn't want to know the truth for the longest time because I'll be honest, like there's a lot of AI stuff I don't like. I don't feel like I need it. I just kind of like the way things are. I don't need AI text summaries and I don't need, all these AI features. Like sometimes I just think it's overkill. But I think we'll get to the point where the use of AI feels less forced by apps and companies, and there will be actually very good practical use cases for AI within applications. So I don't know if that is relatable, but basically this is me telling you what the market is looking for. And I can give you an example of this, right? So one person I've been working with wanting to get into a software engineering role, they went through the full rounds at some companies and they had dedicated AI interviews. And this was not just like, oh, have you ever used ChatGPT? This was pretty deep. Like it was asking if you could integrate with other apps and talking about parameters and communication protocols between AI LLMs. Most people are going to fail that interview. And then they'll be like, oh, the market's bad. Well, no, you just don't know the material. So people aren't putting in the work. So this is not something that's like a small thing. And that's why I didn't want to treat it as a second-class citizen. The more I, over the last year, discovered like this is actually very critical. And it doesn't mean you have to become a vibe coder or like give up software engineering. Like I don't plan on doing that at all. But there's a time and place for everything. So learning the skills is going to help you get there. So that's why you should care about this as a software engineer. It can help you write better code. It can help you preserve your role, and it can help you get promotions or find roles that will pay you much more. It can also expose you to some very cool things, and it's very exciting for those of you who are into just exploring software engineering. This is like a whole new world. It's like you get to discover software engineering for the first time again, which is really cool. So I would encourage some of you to look at it from that perspective. So for those of you who've just joined recently, this is the last hour of my AI Fundamentals course pre-sale, so early access to all the material as I release it. I have the link in the description and on Instagram in the chat. So with that, you'll get 33% off. You'll get an exclusive interview once you join, and then material released as it's created. So let's see what other comments we have. Caleb's on a roll, so he might not answer. but I've seen it's good to use to learn if you ask about topics in depth. Yep, same here. With all the tools like Claude Code, Cursor, is it still worth learning the basics of ML and math behind it as a full stack dev? So this is a really good question. Should you learn the underlying statistics, AI, machine learning for AI tools and utilizing AI? It really depends on what type of engineer you're wanting to become. Learning the material is not going to hurt you. So like, for example, I picked up a machine learning with Python book and read through some of that material. So, that introduced me to NumPy and Pandas and scikit-learn and TensorFlow and all of these different tools. That's like, if we were to build a stack here, that's like a little bit down here. And that's built on math and statistics. The LLMs, you can imagine most of this stuff's done for you, and it's a tool on top of them. We're talking about how do we utilize these tools to then build up from there. So it's not going to hurt you to learn those tools, but it does get into the realm of being a machine learning engineer instead of an AI engineer or just a regular software engineer who can build AI tools. I'm trying to think of an equivalent comparison, but it's the difference between building AWS and using AWS as a software engineer. So we're talking about using these things to our benefit. Hi, Caleb. May I know the roadmap for a little too specific? I'm struggling with DSA. Oh my goodness gracious. Come on. Stupid phone. Technology. Come on. Hi, Caleb. I am a front-end dev. I want to shift to AI I want to shift to AI from a front-end engineering role. Well, then, honestly, you are in the right place. This course is not about becoming an AI engineer, though. This is about becoming a software engineer who knows how to use AI. So it's AI for software engineers. So you're going to get that, but that's not the end goal. So if you just want to become like a vibe coder, it's probably not the best course for you because we're going to go deeper than that. You will learn vibe coding, though. We're going to build an entire app in business from scratch using AI. Got me into programming 7 years ago, and I've never been more happy I did it. Let's go. That's exactly what I love to hear. What would you advise for someone coming in at the time of this AI explosion, but an early in the software development journey? Should they pivot, immerse into AI first, then go back to programming? So this is a really great question. So my opinion here is you do not want to think so mutually exclusive, I believe is the way to describe it, where it's like I'm at a fork in the road and I have to choose. Do I go down the path of AI or do I go down the path of software engineer? Because if you go down the path of AI and you write a program, how are you going to know if it's correct? Or if something's not working, how are you going to adjust it? You're going to be effectively useless. So then what you have to do is you have to play this back and forth game with AI. Hey, the box is not in the right spot. Can you move it over? Oh, hey, the data is being stored in the wrong data source. Like, can you fix that? And you just have to do this back and forth process with AI. And that's where we get into vibe coding, where basically you're building the app purely off of the vibe that the app gives. I guess I don't know if that's like where the term vibe coding came from, but that's how I interpret it. Basically, no layer deeper logic. So my recommendation is to destroy the thought you have to pick and instead combine and do both because, and I rarely say that because usually I tell people to focus and like stay in your lane effectively to become an expert. But AI is not something that is separated from software engineering. It's a complement too. So you should learn both. And by learning both, you will actually be more effective at both. So it's like a power up, right? By learning AI, you actually save time, you make more money, you have more output for your work. And if you learn software engineering, you are more able to effectively use AI. I can't think of any major downside to learning both, besides having to put in a little extra time to pick up on some AI tools. But man, only if there was somebody on the internet who did all that work for you and just curated it in this beautiful course that just brought you from level 0 all the way to a proficient software engineer who knows how to use AI. That would just be perfect. That's I hope for someday that to be a thing. By learning AI, are you referring to making it or using it? So that's a very involved question, because like AI is a very broad term. In other words, there's like classification algorithms. Like if you're going down like algorithms, there's using LLMs. There's all types of different levels of AI. So when you say creating AI, what exactly does that mean? Are we going to build an LLM? No. Are we going to learn how LLMs work? Yes. Are we going to build features that utilize AI within the context of an app? Yes. So we'll be building AI tools, but we're not going to get into the machine learning algorithms. How much of the AI course content is already out? And what is your next course after this AI one? Great question. So this is an early access course. And for full transparency, there's a reason why I do these early access courses. Because one, people are not very good at doing large things. Like just, I can look at the numbers of people that go through the course material, very aggressive fall off. So if you join a course and there's 50 lessons, it's like, oh, I'll get to this at some point. But if it's like, hey, you get 5 lessons per week, then people have a more consumable approach to the content. So that's one reason I like to do this. 2, I get to incentivize people who support my material. You join early, you get bonuses, you get cheaper prices or discounts, you get early access to material, and for future courses, I make sure you get bonuses or coupons or something. So I prioritize people who buy my stuff early. I lost my train of thought there, but how much of the AI course content is already out? Oh, I remember what I was saying. So the reason pre-sales or early access is valuable is because if I launched this course and I sold 5 of them, I could just refund those 5 people and not make the course, because clearly there's not a demand from my audience. Has that ever happened? Not really. In fact, I'm actually, the opposite happened for this. The interest was much higher than I anticipated. So I released a fundamentals course a couple of weeks ago, and I was like thinking, oh, I'll just kind of like sprinkle in this AI course, right? The AI course has done better than the fundamentals course. So that's basically following the principle of, I don't know if it's in business or marketing or what, but people vote with their wallet, right? So I know people want the material if they're willing to pay for the material. But if I do a poll and I say, hey, would you be interested in an AI course? Most people are going to say yes. But once you actually say, oh, you're interested? Okay, give me your credit card. Then people change. They don't actually want that. They don't actually want that in some cases. But in this case, I'm pleasantly surprised with the feedback. So how much of the material is done? We have the first lesson. We have an interview in there, and we are actively working through the first section. So we'll be releasing probably about 5 lessons per week. over the course of the next 2 or 3 months. We might adjust that depending on, since this is like a very vast topic, we might adjust that if we need additional time to cover certain things, or we might condense it if we find that we cover the material fast enough. So I don't know if that answers your question, but our tentative release schedule is going to be 5 lessons per week over the course of 2 to 3 months. So give it 2 or 3 months, you'll have the material out, and then the opening of the course won't happen until the material is all done. And then in that material, I will guide you through building the entire startup from scratch with AI. I'll guide you through using an offline LLM trained on your own data, like your own files that you can use as much as you want without having to connect to the internet, which is a great thing to think about for data privacy concerns, especially if you're working in like a corporation or company that they don't want to use these AI models for their code or their files. It's a valid concern. And then I'll also guide you through the third project, which is integrating an AI feature into an app, such as a summarizer. So the AI in this course is local or online. We will cover both. So we'll look at online AI tools. So, Claude, ChatGPT, like LLMs like that. We'll also look at offline tools as well. So offline Llama and other AI models or tools that we could download entirely that don't require connection to a server. So you'll get experience in both of those. The first section really is designed to get like a wide overview of the different tools out there, so that way you know what exists. So you're not like an expert in ChatGPT, but you've never heard of Anthropic. So that's an example of our approach. We want to give you the general, and then we'll specialize in a couple of different things. Oh, and then what's the next course? Let's talk about that. Which, by the way, there's 20 minutes left to get the AI course. Anybody who gets the AI course will get a discount on this upcoming course. So our approach with AI and the course is I intentionally want to release the material on a recurring basis over a period of time. We can see how that goes, and if it goes well and people are loving it, then heck, I might just continue to doing that for indefinitely. Maybe work on another course after I finish this one in AI. But in parallel to that, since that's kind of like a long going task, I'm going to be working on my larger software engineering roadmap. So for those of you who haven't seen that, basically it's a course roadmap from complete beginner to building the fundamentals, to building data structures and algorithm skills, to building system design and backend skills, and then ultimately front end for data and backend engineering. So state management and real-time apps and those topics. All end to end, going from 0 to a intermediate or advanced senior level software engineer. So that's the larger roadmap. Currently, we are at like the basic level. So I just pre-released the fundamentals. I'm about 80% through that material. Third section's going live. We have 2 more sections after that. I'm almost done with section 4 on the recording, so I should have the section 5 done in the next week or so. And then I was going to move on to data structures and algorithms. And I've planned out, I don't know, 30 or 40 lessons on data structures and algorithms, going very in depth with lots of hands-on examples. And then I want to continue that into trees and graphs for like a next course, like a intermediate data structures and algorithms. But the fundamentals has gone so well for me, and like I keep finding myself wanting to add more to it. So I'm heavily considering an intermediate level software engineering course. And then basically the roadmap would be fundamentals, intermediate, data structures 1 and 2, system design, back end, front end. Can someone with no coding experience take the AI course? Yeah, you should be able to get through it, especially because I'll teach you how to use AI to teach you how to code. So you don't have to know how to code to benefit from AI, especially for the initial sections. We're going to focus on, hey, let's step back and not use our software engineering skills. Let AI do more of the work. And then as we go through the course, we'll start to integrate more technical stuff. So if at any point there's issues or like something you need to know, I will put references to things you need to study or brush up on so you're not going in cold. What will be the total duration of, actually, here's a good question. What are the pre-requirements for the course? No real prerequisites. I would say some programming experience will help you, but it's not a requirement. So if you are going through the material and you're challenged by certain things, maybe we're using Git or GitHub and whatever, I have material for all those different topics, so I'll just link to them and you can go watch them. So you might be able to learn that material in line. So you're learning AI and coding at the same time. Totally fine. Is there a specific programming language used in the course? Is it suitable for all languages? For the AI course, no specific language will be focused on. It's more about the AI tools, or AI tools and integrations. There might be some specific languages. If that's the case, I'm leaning towards Python, but it's not going to be like an extensive Python course or anything like that. But often these AI tools will have libraries you need to use, and Python's going to be the easiest way to do that. Let's see what else. What will be the total duration? I don't have the material done, but my instinct is that it's going to be around 10 hours, potentially more, depending on how extensive the projects are and how long those take. I usually like to under promise and over deliver. So I don't want to say, it's going to be 20 hours and ends up being 15, but pretty high level of confidence is going to be at least 10 hours of material. And my material is pretty dense. So when will the DSA course come out? Probably in the next month or two, maybe next month. Ideally, I can get the fundamentals 2 done like really fast. Like that's my full focus in parallel with the 5 lessons a day on the AI topic. So those should be early access here really soon. I hope you launch a Docker course. So yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about, where I was going through the fundamentals and it's like, I want to cover Docker, but like, I don't know. I don't want this fundamentals to be like very intense for someone who's brand new to coding. So that's why I was like, maybe I'll just do an intermediate and put topics like that in there. Yeah, so what is the course? Well, where will it be? It's on codebreakthrough.com. Link is in the description. If you're on Instagram, the 2 people on Instagram, well, that's crazy. There's 45 on YouTube here. 3 on Instagram now. You guys are special. So links in the description. The sale for that ends in the next 15 minutes. So, and then it's closing, and then I'm going to open it up after I finish all of the early access material. Let's see what other questions we have. What is the scope of AI according to you in the future job market? So compared to others, I'm not really sure what you mean by others. Other technologies or what, but I would say it's a critical component for software engineers now. So for technical interviewing and behavioral interviewing, so data structures and algorithms, system design, behavioral interviewing, AI interviewing. So you should definitely be able to use it. It's kind of like, I think a good comparison is like web hosting. Like you should be pretty familiar to some degree with AWS, but you don't have to be a DevOps engineer or like an AWS architect to fulfill those requirements. You just have to be proficient. So like that's the goal of this course. So it's not going to be like 100-hour long course where you learn every detail of every little thing that doesn't matter. We're going to give you the practical good stuff. I want to take that course. Where do I find it and how much does it cost? If you're referring to the AI course, links in the description. Most up-to-date pricing will be there. But as of now, it's $267 with the early access. That's after 33% off. How are you planning on to price the advanced software engineering course? So I'm assuming you mean like the fundamentals 2, basically, intermediate and advanced topics. It'll probably be more expensive than the fundamentals, as the fundamentals is like the entryway for everybody. So I wanted it to be as accessible as humanly possible. But the intermediate and advanced topics take a lot longer to prepare and to produce. So I don't have an exact number, but probably a little bit more than the fundamentals for sure. Does your course show real projects, examples, and how to use Git, GitHub, Jenkins, and so on? It might be confusing. I think I'm mixing too many topics here, but the AI course does not cover that material, but it is all hands-on. All my courses are applied. We always try to show examples and how to do stuff. So yeah, to confirm, AI Mastery for Software Engineers, $267 USD. That's right, Carlos. What will the pricing be for India? Currently, we don't do purchase price parity or power. I forget the PPP, what it stands for, but this is the only price I have as of now. I think that's all the questions, so I will see if I have any other topics to cover, any other questions I wanted to answer. So how long will the course take to produce? I am estimating, since I'm going to have it in like a slower drip, because I want plenty of time for us to do adequate research and like really put a lot of effort into building the best material possible. Excuse me. I'm thinking it's going to be like 2 or 3 months before the material is completely done and we reopen the course. What happens then? Depending on how this course goes, I may do a secondary AI course on some niche topic. Either that or then I'll just focus full effort on the software engineering track. I haven't decided, so that's something I'll see in 2 months. With the AI course, what can we do along with it? Just to make sure I understand the question, like what will you be able to do after this AI course? The first focus is I want you to be exposed to as many actually important AI tools and companies and products as possible. So the goal there is to become informed and be able to communicate about AI effectively and be able to use all of these tools. So that's going to basically be exploratory. We're going to try new tools. We're going to show you what they do. We're going to show you how they work, why they work. So we'll try to go a little bit of a layer deeper so you understand the AI behind them. You'll understand if it's an LLM or if it's built on top of an LLM. You'll understand how it feeds the LLM data, all of those things. So that's the first thing. And then the next thing is going to be all about tools and integrations. So not just an individual tool in isolation like GitHub Copilot, but how do I get GitHub Copilot to communicate to maybe my CRM for my customers or do other interactions like that? So how do we start to build more complex architectures where AI is a component in that? So we'll need to know how to integrate between apps. That's where we'll start to get into some of the coding. And that's going to get into AI agents as well, which is huge. Like AI agents is insane. It's pretty mind-boggling. So we're going to get into AI agents, how to use them, how to get them to build certain things. and basically how to have full-time software engineers working for you, but really it's AI. Thanks, Carlos. Glad you bought the course. Looking forward to you going through the material. Course is $267. That's after 33% off. So on relaunch, it'll be at least $397. Maybe more. I don't know. Depends on like I mentioned, the course keeps growing. So we started as this like micro course idea, and then we're like, oh, let's do this and this and this and this. So that can be overwhelming for people, which is why we split it up into smaller sections or sub courses. So you can decide which ones you need and come back to those at some point, or you can go through the material linearly. Man, you helped me pass SQL at WGU. I think you were younger. Yeah, it probably was. I've been doing this at like 10 plus years here. So any other AI related questions? Will we make another AI course after this? I'm thinking about that idea. So we might go into like one specific thing. So in the first course that we're talking about here, we might explore, for example, generative AI. How can we produce things from AI? But we're not going to go into generative AI for like a full course, right? But if there's one specific thing that I find captivating enough or like the most valuable for software engineers, then I might do a dedicated course to it and launch that later this year. So for example, maybe agents is that thing. You know, how can I use agents more effectively? And I'll do a full course on that topic. Do you have a discount code? I do not have a discount code. However, if you bought the fundamentals course that we released a couple weeks ago, there is a coupon code in that course. So you have 8 minutes to go find that. There's a dedicated lesson for it. So if there's any other AI topics, we'll consider those. Cool. So then I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Maybe I will talk a little bit about how this course fits into my bigger picture. Is this part of the end-to-end roadmap, or is this a separate thing? So this is actually interesting because I built out this roadmap of material I want to build, and it's tentative, so I might add or adjust. But like, for example, I'm thinking about adding an intermediate course in there, just as an intermediate fundamentals before we go into all the specializations. I thought about adding AI in there, and most likely that will happen. So it'll be like fundamentals 2, and then AI that you can use to then get the most out of all the other material. But I don't necessarily think you have to go through the full AI course to benefit from those other courses. So if I build out the AI material enough, I might do just like a dedicated AI roadmap. So it just depends. If I want to just give you guys like the essential AI information, I might just put that as part of the roadmap. But if I want to build out like more in-depth AI courses and stuff of that nature, then it would be a separate roadmap. So if you're just wanting to understand AI and how to use it as a software engineer, then you'll want to definitely go through this course, because that's basically my goal is to fill that void, like everything you need to know as a software engineer when it comes to AI, without having to go outside of the actually important stuff. I don't want to waste anybody's time. Everybody's time is extremely valuable. Hopefully you consider your time valuable. So I don't waste time in my courses teaching you stuff I don't believe is valuable. So that's part of what I do. And oftentimes I'll plan stuff and I'll be like, yo, this is actually not as valuable as I thought it was. I'm deleting it because I don't want to waste time. So my goal is not to produce the longest course possible, as you might experience from Udemy or other course platforms. No shade to Udemy. You go in there and it's like, wow, an AI master course, it's 200 hours. But then you realize that they talk so slow, you're actually going to die of boredom or fall asleep. and they make the content so bloated that it's like impossible to digest what is actually valuable of that material. So I'm getting rid of all of that garbage, and it's basically like all the valuable stuff given to you at once in a very easy, consumable way. It's not a crash course, though. It's not like, let me give you as much information as humanly possible, as quickly as possible, as I also don't think that's good. I think that's good in certain contexts, like if you need to like refresh on something or you need to get all the information as fast as humanly possible. But the way I teach is I want to teach the most efficiently so that you can basically follow along with the material, learn all the material without having too many roadblocks because I guide you through everything. So it feels very natural, like you're just following along, but you're actually learning quite a bit and you don't have a ton of friction, but you also don't have a bunch of fluff you have to dig through. So that's my approach. Just buy your course, trusted you as before. Let's go. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I think this is going to be great. And this is also going to give you discounts for the future early access releases. So I got a lot planned for this year. Like I'm going to go through that whole roadmap. So if you want to basically level up from 0 to 100, this is the way to go. We have 4 minutes left of the sale. So basically, if you're interested, there's a link in the description. And if you're on Instagram, I'll drop it in the chat. So after this live, I am going to go shut down the sale, so it won't be available. Yeah, so now we just wait. We got 3 minutes left. Yeah, that's a good point. So the only issue someone has with the course is that they're unemployed, so they want more content. We actually have a massive goal for YouTube. So to be very clear, this is not an alternative to YouTube that like we're just abandoning YouTube. We're actually going to be putting a lot of really good stuff on YouTube, and I'm really excited. But it's not going to replace these courses. There's a difference. So YouTube is not the ideal place for this type of material. So YouTube, I'm going to show you stuff. I'm going to teach you the essentials. Then if you want to know the depths, you can get the courses. You can get the full end-to-end journey. That's what I'm doing. So is it video-based? Yes, all video-based, no live. So video lessons, just like going through a playlist of my material here. It is text-based as well. So we have an ebook. We do ebooks for all of our courses for learning, but also for reference. So if you want to go back and refer to the material, you can copy the code sections. You don't have to go watch the videos if you don't want, unless you need to relearn the material. But if it's just for reference, it makes it super, super easy. And these ebooks are thorough. Usually one lesson is anywhere between 500 to 1,500 words. So wouldn't be surprised if this ebook ends up being like 25,000 or 30,000 words or more. So it's going to be pretty intense. But when you go through that with the videos, it's like really easy to consume, and you can reference that later. It's like the perfect combo. I don't really know of anybody else who does it quite like I do. Excuse me. All right, we have 2 minutes left. Any discount on your Python backend course on your website? Currently not running any discounts for that. But as anyone who early access buys any of my material, we do give discounts for future releases. So basically, you're trusting me to buy the material, and in exchange, you get cheaper prices and coupons, discounts, bonuses for future material as well. So basically, I'm trying to build a community of trustworthy people that trust me, like buyers that are continually interested in these courses, because I've realized this is what people want. People want the highest value courses delivered to them via email, via YouTube, via live stream, and if I keep doing that, people are happy. So the people that join get rewarded, honestly. So let me see if I have any other last questions. Do you think AI and blockchain could become something? I'm assuming you mean like the integration of the two. I would say definitely that's a thing. I don't exactly know in what capacity those two will overlap, but I'm certain it will happen for sure. So there are so many AI courses out there. What can I learn from you? So we talked about this, and that's fine. Yes, it's a great question actually. But if you want to refer back to the recording. But the difference between those courses and my course is I teach it in all the style I do all my material. So if you've trusted my material, you've benefited from my material, then you're going to benefit from this course. And it's going to be the best way for people to pick up these AI topics. So if you've seen, for example, I have an 8-hour database design course, and it's like the database design course. I want to do the same thing as that, but for AI, to where it's like the place to go for picking up AI. Secondary to that, this is from the perspective of a software engineer. So a lot of these AI courses are cash grabs. They're either cash grabs for the course maker to make a lot of money off of people very quickly, would not provide a lot of value, or they teach people how to use AI to basically build cash grabs. Like, hey, it's like you don't have to know how to code, you can just build apps and make a ton of money from home and like all this stuff. We're going to talk about how to make money with AI and how to build apps, but in a more formal, professional way. So like from the perspective of a software engineer who wants to use AI to benefit and to get better results. So I'm going to keep it a little bit more real and a little less scammy, if that makes sense. But yeah, there are people who will just be skeptical of AI regardless of how much thought and effort I put into this material. So I think that just comes with the niche. When will the course be available? Okay, it's actually 2 minutes after the availability. So I am going to end this live and close the course. So if you manage to get to that faster than me, then I will, I'll let you in. But yeah, it takes me about 5 minutes to get in there and change the pricing in the landing page. So thank you everybody for, actually I have one more question here. I have no exposure to tech. Your AI course will be my first. I actually am super, super excited to hear that, Carlos, if you're still here. As you go through this journey, you'll have a Discord. So you'll join the Discord. Any issues, any questions, any guidance, any mentorship, any direction you need, post it there. So it's going to be the place you can connect with me and other people, because me having you learn this stuff through me, and this is like your first exposure, means a lot to me. I want to make it a great experience for you. What other of your courses do you recommend to me as a beginner to learn alongside with this course? We can talk about that offline since you joined. I'll talk in the Discord. You can message in there. There's a general channel, and we can get a discussion going. But to answer that very quickly, I would start with this AI course, and then I'll have some Python material that you can go through. And also when I open the fundamentals level 2, there'll be another opportunity to get in on the level 1. And that I would say is the best opportunity to start. It's basically designed for where you are. So most likely that's going to be reopened early sometime next month. I don't want to give a date because I got a lot of things going on, so I don't want to overpromise. But that's going to, once I early access for the part 2 course, I'll make it possible for people to get the part 1 course. So that might be a good thing to look forward to. Let me see if there's any last things. Yeah, let me know. I'm looking at your roadmap. I'm a little confused. So there's 3 or 4 more courses before the final full software engineering one. Yeah, so basically these are stacking topics. So the idea is you learn the fundamentals, level 1, level 2. Then you go into the starting to get into interviewing. So data structures and algorithms and system design. Then you do back end and front end. So all in all, those courses are going to give you the complete picture. The fundamentals is going to give you a lot. Like I don't want you guys to think the fundamentals or like any one individual course is going to be lacking because of that bigger package. Every one of my courses is like super extensive. So by going through all of them, you'll basically build the skill to be a senior engineer. In the meantime, I'm going to be early accessing all of those courses, and you'll be able the final launch once all of those courses are done. It's going to be a surprise that I'm going to be planning out for the year. So I don't exactly know what that's going to look like, but that'll be like the full picture. Alrighty, last one here. Where I can find your course, it's codebreakthrough.com. It's in the description. Is the fundamentals available for purchase? It won't be available for purchase until I early access the part 2. So that'll be probably next month sometime. And then I can't log into the website after purchasing the AI course. Khalid, if it's pronounced that way, I did see your purchase come through, so I will communicate with you over email. But yeah, do not worry. I will make sure that you get into the course. But yeah, make sure that if you use your email, then you can check your email for the information. Worst case scenario, you can reset your password, and that should trigger an email for you to get logged back in. But I'll check that transaction and I'll make sure I get that sent to you. All right. Thank you, everybody. If you guys have any which by the way, if anyone has any additional questions or anything on any of my upcoming stuff or my work, caleb@calebcurry.com. So if you have any issues, that's where you can email me. It's my name, caleb@calebcurry.com. Khalid, I'll email you, but if you don't, if there's any issues, you can shoot me an email. All right, I will see everybody next time.